Hello, everyone. Thank you, Patrick, for the intro, and thank you all for being here. I'm Alex, and I'm here with Jan and Zhao Tong. We're from the University of Michigan. The project we're presenting today is on corridor management in the I-75, I-696 influence area just north of Detroit, and this project was proposed by the Michigan Department of Transportation. So the influence area we're looking at today is just north of Detroit. I-75 stretches from Detroit up to Troy, and I-696 stretches from Southfield to Warren. This is the general influence area, which encompasses a densely populated residential area up top and a number of job centers, both in downtown Detroit and outside of downtown Detroit, including some GM plants and a Chrysler plant as well. So the problem we're looking at specifically is recurring peak congestion. Specifically, southbound I-75 gets very congested in the morning, as you can see from Google Maps, and northbound in the evening, as well as eastbound on 696. This is confirmed by the daily traffic counts here. And yeah, so this is a recurring problem. And we all know no one likes to get stuck in traffic, but there's some more serious impacts to it as well. Specifically, poor travel time reliability. The commuters, they don't have a reasonable estimate of how long it takes them to get to work. There's also more accidents, higher energy consumption and emissions, and congestion in general led to approximately $305 billion of economic loss in 2017. So this is a problem greater than Michigan. It's a nationwide and worldwide problem. The existing management along the corridor consists of I-75 and I-696, which are operated and maintained by MDOT. The ITS deployments, there's some CCTV cameras for monitoring flow and some dynamic message signs as well, but it's just limited to that. There's not much there. Again, there's some signalized arterials along the route as well, but these have low speed limits and a lot of interruptions from traffic signals. There's also some local interior roads that are also maintained by different agencies, so collaboration among the agencies is important. So we looked at this problem, and one specific constraint we were given from MDOT was that we have to use the existing network. I-75 specifically is constrained by space, and we didn't want to induce any more demand into the network. And so we broke our solution down into two parts to attack it from two sides. The first side, we're focused on the supply side. So we wanted to say we have the same number of vehicles, we wanted to move them smoother and faster through the network. Then the demand side, we wanted to make the same number of trips and a fewer number of vehicles. We wanted to focus on whether we can ferry people with shuttle buses or carpooling to reduce the number of vehicles on the road. Detroit is a growing metropolitan area, and we need a way to accommodate this future demand as well. So now Jan is going to talk about the first part, the supply-focused solution.
This picture here shows the typical traffic condition during the morning peak hours in the influence area. We identified several bottlenecks of the transportation network using the travel speed data from Google Maps. As you can see, most of the bottlenecks are the merging points. Actually, there are two types of merging points in this area. One type of merging point is the location where freeway traffic from different directions merge together. The other type of merge point is the location where local traffic merges into freeway traffic. Our solution to the freeway-to-freeway congestion is a combination of dynamic junction control and dynamic merge control. Dynamic junction control can dynamically allocate lane access in the interchange area. For example, at the bottom of the figure, this is a shoulder lane. We can use that as an acceleration lane for the merging vehicles during the peak hours. We also propose dynamic merge control. It can manage the entry of vehicles into the merge areas. For example, this can be implemented as a series of portable dynamic message signs that prepare the travelers for an upcoming merge. And they can encourage more consistent merging behaviors, create safe gaps, and therefore reduce the shock waves and mitigate congestion. Our solution to the local-to-freeway congestion is a combination of adaptive RAM metering and also arterial green wave signal control. The RAM meters can control the traffic densities on the freeways and therefore allow us to use the existing freeway capacity efficiently. However, ramp metering by itself may cause some backups and congestion on the ramps and on the local roads. Therefore, we propose also arterial green wave signal control. They can allow the rerouted traffic to flow smoothly in one direction, and since the traffic is usually directional during peak hours, this can significantly reduce the delays the travelers may endure. This slide shows the cost breakdown and also the timeline. In general, our solutions can be implemented with a reasonable budget within a few months. Next, Shelton will introduce you the demand-focused solutions.
Well, on the demand side, we are focusing on commuting trips, and we found that the jobs of the commuting trips not only located in downtown area, but also concentrated in several big companies such as GM and Chrysler. It motivates us to propose the company-led but MPO-assisted solution. The core idea is integrating the commuting trips for the employees in those companies. It would lead to a win-win cooperation, as companies also struggling with parking issues. They like to solve the commuting trips. And also, MPO would like to see the overall result when there are less vehicles on street. And specifically, we have two suggested solutions, the shuttle-based and the carpool-based. So the shuttle-based solution is essentially an on-demand transit service with customized routes. And comparing to the public transit, it is optimized for the employees, so the planners can have a better understanding of where, when, and how much the demand is, thus have a customized route planning and frequency scheduling. And there are two possible business models associated. First, companies can do outsourcing. That is, several of them can work together and bundle their demand and ask for a public transit provider for service. Or they can have their own shuttles, like what Facebook and Google has already did in the Bay Area. That is a more flexible choices when they have semi-door-to-door services. And here is how we anticipate the function architecture. As you can see, there are many components in this picture, but the key idea is companies and platforms should work closely together with MTOTs, MPOs, local governments, as well as vehicles and users. And our second solution is carpool-based solution, where we limit the carpool choices only between 2 or 3 colleagues when they have similar origins and destinations. It allows them to have a more flexible departure time and route choices. And on the other hand, the companies themselves can have a better management over the carpooling behaviors because they can easily provide compensations and rewards. And finally, is the cost breakdown and timeline. For the shuttle-based services, the cost comes from buying the bus and also the operation cost as well as API development cost. And for the carpooling services, the first is API development cost, and we also set budget for companies to use for mileage compensation as well as parking compensation. You may be wondering, what are these compensations? Well, mileage compensation is basically when the companies give the drivers subsidy to pay their gas, and for the parking compensation, and there is one good example, is the driver who share ride with others can have a better parking spot that is closer to their workplaces. And that concludes the demand side. Finally, let's welcome Alex again for the final summary of our presentation.
So to summarize, freeway congestion is a universal problem. It's faced in many cities across the country and across the world. To mitigate it in this corridor without expanding the network, we proposed a targeted combination of solutions that we feel is a novel approach to the problem, focusing both on the supply side and the demand side. And in order for this to work, though, coordination is necessary among the companies, the governments, and the personal travelers. And thank you for your time.
Good job. Let the judges gather their notes for a second, and then if any of you are ready, go ahead.
I'll start. So can you go back to the demand side cost slide, please? So these costs on the right are all borne by the companies, correct?
Right.
Are there any costs borne by public agencies or MPOs in a demand-side solution?
Well, for the couple-based, it is more flexible to use, and actually the cost, you don't need to change the route or give some infrastructures, so we think the cost basically comes in the company.
I have a question on this slide too. So the shuttle bus, is that a unit cost per shuttle bus of 5,000?
Oh, that is, we consider that the bus have a life cycle of 12 years, so
Okay.
$5,000 just per year.
Okay, per year. Can you explain a little bit more of the Greenway system that you're proposing to deploy?
Sure. So the Greenwave is a compensation of the red meters because the red meters by themselves may cause some congestion and rerouted traffic, and the rerouted traffic should be served better by the current infrastructure. So we propose the Greenwave on the arterial here is Highway 1, I guess, near Michigan. So if we retime the signals on this freeway, on this highway, I'm sorry, then they can flow smoothly to the downtown area.
Are you proposing to develop, timing plans for different scenarios? Or are you proposing to have integration of those?
Currently, we are just proposing retiming of the traffic signals.
Let's have another minute or two. Check this. Marcus, by any chance, you guys have any questions?
I guess I see there with the dynamic message sign, so if the green wave is supposed to be an alternative from I-75 essentially, which I think could be good because most of Austin is an example, the interstates are commuter routes and that's not what they were designed for initially. So do you envision having the dynamic message signs both on 75, both on US 1, kind of comparing the options, so if I'm a traveler coming from Troy or Royal Oak or whatever, I'll have a comparison of what might be my best option.
The current dynamic message signs along I-75 do something similar to that. The dynamic message signs that we've put here were primarily for the merge control, warning people of the merge ahead and encouraging merging gaps and so forth. But with the integration of the arterial signal control, it would allow for better time estimates along those dynamic message signs.
One last question. Are you accounting for the anticipated changes of that the demand solution may have on the network itself when you do the analysis of, like, for example, the green wave or the solutions on the dynamic side?
Yes. So, for instance, the green wave here is used to compensate the demand change from the rerouted traffic from the freeways to the local arterials. But we generally do not consider the change of ODs.
That change is more of a future effect that we hope to see because of the growing metropolitan area. We want to be able to encourage companies to enroll in this program or start a program for themselves. And so in order to reduce the load on the network.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Great job.